You have made it to lesson 10, and we're going to take a look at the learning target. It says I can identify both the additive and multiplicative structure of ratio tables, make additional entries in the table, and use ratio tables to solve problems. So they're just every lesson we just kind of step it up a little bit more of a challenge. So here we have, it says exploratory challenge. So a little bit of a challenge at the get-go. And they want us to imagine we're making a fruit salad. So this fruit salad, for every 1 quart of blueberries you add, you're going to put in 3 quarts of strawberries. So it's a 1-to-3 ratio that will continue. We've got these 3 tables though, because in some cases you're going to need to make a massive quantity, right? So this first table, they say you have added fewer than, so less than 10 quarts, right, of the blueberries. Okay, so I can have any number in there. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I could go all the way up to 9 if it's less than 10. This next table, still I'm going to keep a 1 to 3, but it says I will have the amount of blueberries is going to be between 10 and 50. And then on the last table, they say it should be greater than 100 quarts for that. So that's really big. That's a lot of fruit salad. So the 1 to 3, if I have a 1 quart of blueberries, that means I'm going to have 3 quarts. So that's just the standard ratio that we set. If I double the 1, then 3 plus 3, or 3 times 2, is going to give me 6. 1 times 3, 3 times 3. 1 times 4, 3 times 4. And 1 times 5, 3 times 5. So we're, smaller quantities, still that's quite a bit. But now we're going to jump to this table too, which we start out, let's say we've got 10 quarts of blueberries. So a 1 to 3 ratio, 1 times 10, 3 times 10. How about, let's go 20. I'm going to just 20, 30, 40, 50, nothing. You could do any numbers that you want as long as they're between 10 and 50. So 1 times 20, 3 times 20. 1 times 30, 3 times 30 is 90 quarts. 1 times 4, 43 times 40 is 120 quarts. 1 times 50, 3 times 50, 150 quarts of strawberries. I'm glad I'm not picking them. Okay, now this is really big. This can be, I'm going to start out with 100. I know it said greater than 100, but I'm going to start with 100. 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Notice, I don't know if you did notice how I just did a multiple of 10. So we'll see what happens here. My ratio is still 1 to 3. So 1 times 100, 3 times 300. 1 times 200, 3 times 200. So notice how I'm just adding a 0 to the quarts of strawberries from the last table. 1 times 300, 3 times 300, 900. 1 times 400, 3 times 400. I get my 12 down and then I throw down those 2 zeros for the 100. 1 times 500, 3 times 500 is 1,500 quarts. Wow, that's a whole lot of strawberries, a whole lot of salad. Okay, so then we're going to next page, and it says, describe any patterns that you see in the tables. Be specific. So I know that in this first table, I know that it's a 1 to 3 ratio. Table 1 is a 1 to 3 ratio. They're all 1 to 3 ratios. in the second table, table 2, now I've got first column increased by 10, and then second column it's increased by 30. I'm kind of writing notes because it's hard to get all of that in there. You might have more room in fact, you do. I'm looking at in my student book, page 98. You've got lots of room. You could write a novel. Haha. Don't, don't write a novel. Okay, table 3. This is squished. Table 3, I'm increasing in the first column. First column, it's increasing by 100 each time, right? And then in the second column, I'm increasing by 300, multiples of 300 each time. Okay, got that. Oh my gosh. How about B? How are the amounts of blueberries and strawberries related to each other? They are a 1-to-3 ratio. We know that. How are the values in the blueberries column related to each other? Well, they are increasing by 1, and then by 10, and then by 100. How about the strawberries? Increasing by 3, and then 30, and then 300. Okay, if we know we want to add 7 quarts of blueberries to the fruit salad in table 1, it says, how can we use the table to help us determine how many strawberries to add? So we would go 6 and then 7 quarts. And then on the other side, we know that we would have our 3 times 7, which is 21. We just keep our ratio. Then I'm going to look at the last question. If we know we used 70 quarts of blueberries, so now I'm thinking I'm over here, 70 quarts of blueberries, how can we use a ratio table to find out how many quarts of strawberries? But see, if I'm doing this whole 1-to-3 ratio and I just multiplied by 7, 1 times 70 gives me 70, then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Times 70, 3 times 70 is 21, throw my 0 on. I'm going to end up, that ratio helps me figure out the missing number. So let's go to the next slide. And this is not about fruit salad. This is about something else. The following tables were made incorrectly. There are some errors. Find the mistakes that were made. Create the correct. So I'm going to correct that over here. And then here I'll write the new table and state the ratio down here. So a 3 to 24, I know I can divide 3 by 3 to get 1, and I can divide 24 by 3 to get 8. So right now, I'm going to write that ratio down here, 1 to 8. Now we'll go in and check it. So 1 times 3, 8 times 3. 1 times 5, 8 times 5. 1 times 7, 8 times 7. That's not okay. 1 times 9, 8 times 9. Okay, everything works out except for this one. So I'm going to write these in here. And the 24 was good, the 40 was good, the 72 was good. This one needed to be fixed. So 8 times 7 is actually 56, but you knew that one. Okay, now let's look at this one. Blue to yellow. We've got a 1 to 5, so I know a 1 to 5 ratio. So I'm going to put that in the very beginning. Then 1 times 4, 5 times 4. That doesn't work. 1 times 7, 5 times 7. Nope. 1 times 10, 5 times 10. Nope. Wow. They were tired. They did not get sleep, so they made some errors on this. So I'm going to write all the blue in, and then, so 1 times 4, 5 times 4. 1 times 7, 5 times 7. 1 times 10, 5 times 10. Okay, that looks good. And I think that's the last page. If I'm looking, that was on page 99 in your practice book. And then I see some lesson summaries, a homework helper, and then you've got your problem set, you've got your exit ticket, you're set. Good work.